Today we're working with different canvases. So I got out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different canvases, and I thought we would decide what we wanted to turn into a tote bag. So let's go ahead and get started. Hello my friends, and welcome to Where Wendy Creates. Today we are making this yummy tote bag. And why do I say yummy? Because I am so excited about this 2-strap. Put it over the shoulder, enjoy this bag, because on the sides I can put maps and magazines, and on the inside I have so many yummy pockets. We are looking at a short pocket for credit cards. We're looking at long pockets that are divided. So this is what we are making today. I cannot wait. Let's go have fun. Okay, so we want to make straps. So I have cut this piece of fabric, and we can take it, canvas, we can take it over to the ironing board and iron it. But I'm getting a good idea. I think I'm going to turn it in, turn it into the center, turn it into the center, make sure it matches, turn it over. So I actually have a nice sturdy strap that is 4 layers of canvas, so it's going to feel like it's nice and thick. It's going to have the one seam on the side, and of course we're going to press it, stitch it. So let's go ahead and see if we can stitch it down. You can take your fabrics, fold them together, and then if you have these wonderful little sewing clips, or even clothespins or paper clips, you can hold this together. So then when you go to the ironing machine, it holds it tight. If you're going to stitch it, it holds it where you want to stitch it. And this is good where you press, meaning up and down. Don't iron, which means cross by cross, or stroking it. And because if you stroke the fabric, you're possibly going to distort it. So just straight up and straight down, with a little steam hitting it, you're going to have it pressed nicely and be ready to stitch it down. And of course, if you don't have the clips, pins, I wanted to show you that. Pins, needles, hat pins, whatever you have to hold those together to make it real easy to go ahead and press. And sew our strap. So I'm going to put it on here. We're going to do a 1/4 inch seam. And we are looking at going through 4 layers of canvas here, my friends. So it is going to be a little clunky. And already I can tell that my thread is not the most ideal color for this. So, again, pay a lot of attention to your thread and know what you're doing and like what you're doing. And we're going to go ahead and take it the whole length, sew off the side, and come back and sew on the other side. Always lock stitch at the beginning and the end of your project. Do what it takes to keep a 1/4 inch. This tape is wonderful. The point of the foot is wonderful. And I think we'll go ahead and cut this canvas down to 17 inches by 32. That way I'm going to have 2 on the sides, 2 on the sides, brings it down to 13. Put it in half. It's going to bring it down to about maybe a 14 by 13 size. So I think that's what we're going to do, because we need fold down of the top, the sides, and the bottom. So it comes in, and we're going over 4 layers. So we've cut it down to the 17 inches. Now we're going to cut it down to the 32 inches. And for my 32 inches, so we're bringing the ruler over to our 32 inches and we're going to trim that off. And 32, 32, 32. Okay, and this is our canvas bag. We're going to roll over the top, sew the sides, and then we're going to triangle off the corners. Hello, my friends. Today we are making a tote out of this beautiful canvas fabric, and I thought we would go ahead and get stitching on it. So let's sew up the sides. So we're going to put right sides together. We're using a full sheet for the front and the back. And we're going to sew, nope, we're not. We're going to set that aside and we're going to do these two pieces. These two pieces are going to be our pockets. So they are cut off. I'm going to fold over the top and we're going to stitch it across. Then we're going to fold over the next piece, stitch it across, and we're going to have our beginnings for our pockets on the outside of our bag. So that should be fun. And what I'm doing is just about a 1/2 inch fold, and I'm stitching towards the lower part of that, and then we're going to stitch on the upper part. So it makes like a little decorative stitch. We're going to do both pieces for the front and the back identical. So we're going ahead and doing this. The stitches are going to show, so make sure you're working with a color of thread that matches your bag and that you're happy with being the final showing on the final product. Fold up the bottom and do it as well. Make sure your top and bottom thread are the same because this is going to show on the outside of our bag. So you can do a decorative stitch if you want. I'm just going to do a straight stitch. And I am folding it up just a scant 1/2 inch. Now on the top, I went across and stitched it twice. On the bottom, I'm only stitching it once because it's going to get stitched to the canvas on the outside of the bag. That's going to be our second row. All right, so now we want our pockets on the side. So with our bag pieces, right sides together, we're going to go ahead and measure up 2 inches. We're going to fold them over perfectly at the top. We're going to measure up 2 inches and put a little mark all the way across. And then we'll have our pocket just up from then, and we'll sew the pockets on before we do the rest of the bag. And these marks are never going to show, so I am using my just a regular ink pen, and it's slightly above the 2 inches. We're perfectly fine with that. And again, I'm just measuring up roughly 2 inches. And then we'll sew our bag just above that line. Okay, now we're going to turn it over, keeping those sides perfectly together. Make sure you realign the top. And then we're going to make our 2 inch mark across the bottom. But I just keep a simple 6 inch ruler. Well, I think it's a 5 inch ruler. And my 12 inch ruler in my drawer. And this is where we'll put our gussets. This is the bottom of the bag. Okay, this is going to be the bottom of our bag that's inside the mark. So now we're going to take our pocket, and we could have an inside pocket or an outside pocket. I was planning on making it an outside pocket, but I just want to show you here. We're just going to go up about a 1/2 inch and put our pocket in so it'd be lovely on the inside or the outside. And just for fun, I could technically have one on the inside, one on the outside. What do you think? Hit that comment button. Let me know real quick. What do you like inside and outside pockets? All right, and I am sewing the seams down on a smaller inside pocket because I guess the verdict is y'all want to see pockets, and are pockets easy or pockets hard? Pockets are super, super, super easy. If you have the fabric, my friends, pockets are fun. And who doesn't want pockets to keep organized in all of their bags? Okay, since we're doing inside pockets, we want to do them first. So we're going to do the inside pockets and then either the handles or the outside pockets next. So we don't have a lining for this bag, but what we've done is we've hemmed the top and the bottom of our internal pockets as well as our external pockets. We're going to sew them on one by one now. And we're taking the canvas single layer. We're going to lay our pockets wrong sides together this time, and we're going to sew it, realizing that our side stitches are not going to show. Our upper stitches or our bottom of the bag, see, this is the bottom of the bag here between this, and our inside pocket is going to be just up from the bottom, and it is a short measurement. So my inside pocket, we're going with a 6.5 inch pocket, and we're going to go ahead and sew so it is compartmentalized. We have put our first inner pocket inside of our quilt, and I have stitched 2 lines across. So I have 1, 2, 3 pockets completely separate from one another that we can store things in. And now let's go ahead and move it over. This is our bottom, and we're going to move it over, turn it over, and do our other inside pockets. And we're putting the pocket on the other side. Now, if you ever have that business card or something you don't want to lose, let's put another higher pocket into our bag to where we can just slide a credit card or slide something right in there and not have to worry about losing it. And we're thinking about placement on our bag. So I have gone ahead and turned under so we have all good edges on the outside. And I'm thinking instead of making it up too high, because I still want to roll this over, let's not have it right at the top, but instead let's insert it just a little bit into that pocket and sew it right onto here. So we'll pull back that pocket top and sew the 3 sides so we can store our credit cards, our important papers, something right here. And we have this pocket and this pocket. So we are having 3 pockets on this side, and I'm excited about it. Okay, so we have our inside pockets, the one for the cards, which is short, which I love that idea. And this is your bag, my friends. Make as many pockets as you want. We have this one divided into 3 as I have my stitches here. We have our bottom, and now we're ready to put our pockets on the outside. So we're going to turn this over, and we're going to take our first outside pocket, and we're going to line it up with this line across the bottom of the bag. And I wish you could see it a little bit better, but this line right here. So we're stitching in the inside pocket again, which is this, and we're putting our good pocket on the outside. Using pens to pin our outside pocket on, we want to stitch right on that stitch line. So we're making sure that we're pinning everywhere so that we are just in line with where we want to be, and we will pin the opposite side and stitch it separately. So excited. This project is so fast, so fun. Just grab any fabric. I'm using canvas because I have it. And canvas usually runs a little bit cheaper than your beautiful cotton fabrics, and you definitely want upholstery fabric or canvas to make these bags so they're very durable. So let's go ahead and put it under the sewing machine and start stitching it across. Once we have this pocket on, we'll do the other side, then we do our handles, And then we can, nope. We're going to stitch up the sides, and then we will do our bottom, our gussets, our straps, and our rolling of the top for a finished look. Yay! Oh, and it looks like I need to thread my needle. All right, so we are threaded. We have our pins in. And we're going to go ahead and stitch around this beautiful outside pocket. I am so excited about this bag. Needle down, foot up, pivot. Now you can take this bulky side that you have the inside pockets on both sides and just twirl it up, put it under the neck of your sewing machine, and stitch across. Using the back foot, which makes it a double stitch, and then going forward is actually 3 stitches in the same place. So I want this really secure, so if I'm frustrated and I throw a book on the outside, I'm not going to pop any seams. And you would not believe this, but a single straight stitch, my friends, you may think a zigzag stitch is much more secure, and it probably is, but a single straight stitch done properly can hold up to 9 pounds. That means not only can it hold 9 pounds, but it can hold 9 pounds of torque, pressure, drop, movement, anything. So that's pretty cool. Just a little fun fact. And I can feel that, see, this is rolled over. So that's 1, 2 layers. This is a 3rd layer, and then we have 4, 5 layers. So we're going over 5 layers of heavy canvas. And I'm sure I already said this, but I do have matching thread in the bobbin as well in the top thread so that everything is matching. Might be nice instead of this lime green to have this same color green. But again, you do you. Match up your colors as best you can because these are final stitches. They will show. Okay, so our outside pockets are done, and we are just leaving one big open pocket on both sides, because I might want to put a book or magazine in there, railway tickets, anything I've got. So now I'm going to take my pins, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I am lined up on the sides, and I'm going to pin in about inch and a half. So it's going to hold everything exactly where I want it to be, but the pins are not in the way for me to do my stitching. And of course, putting this 3rd pin in here in the center, you're going through 2, 4, 6 layers of fabric. So that's a toughie. And we're going to go ahead and put those same 3 pins, different 3 pins on the other side. A pair of hands having the use of pins. So I'm sorry, I bumped the camera again. I am I'm looking through the camera to figure out what I am doing. So if I go off screen, that's because I looked around the camera. If I bump you, that's probably because I couldn't see what I was doing and I was trying to get a better look. Okay, so now we have 3 pins on each side. We're going to go ahead and sew this right here, and we're going to flip it around, and we're going to sew this right here. Okay, so now we're stitching, we have right sides together. We're stitching on the wrong side, or the part of the bag that's not going to show because it's on the inside. And I'm especially going to go over my seams a couple of times, over my seams. And I have my pins in it, but I still need to hold it with my fingers, making sure that I'm still perfectly aligned. All right, we're going to take this out and we're going to flip it around and do the opposite side. Then we will do our quality check and move on to the handles. And that's the pocket, the outside pockets on both sides. So I'm going over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers. This is going to be adding up to 10 layers in this spot here and this spot here, because it's folded over. Okay, and then with our bag still inside out, we're pointing the bottom corner out towards us. Line up your seam with the very center of the bottom. Make sure that's laying correctly. And then we're going to take our previous 2 lines, or we can measure up 2 inches, and we're going to put our line across with our pen. And that's our sew line. So then we'll have a gusset in the bottom of our bag. Then we'll turn it around, do the same to the other side. Okay, and then we're going to bring our gusset with our marked line up under our foot and sew it across. And once we are complete, we're going to go ahead and pull the pen out. We're going to trim off about 1/4 inch under our seam mark and do the same for our other side of the tote. That way our gusset is complete and the bottom of our bag is flat. Okay, we have finished our gussets on the bottom of our bag on both sides. We've sewn across it, we've trimmed off the excess, and now we are ready to turn our top. So we're still inside out, and I'm going to turn it down a scant 1/4 inch, and we're going to sew all the way around this. Then we'll go around it a little bit thicker. Okay, so we're going to sew around the top of our rim about 1/4 inch. We are not measuring, but we want to have it even all the way around. So we're just going slowly and turning it. If your machine can, you can take this piece off so it loops easier. All right, what do I mean by loop? Well, I mean crawl around the machine. So you can take this part off on most machines, and you can just stick the bag around. And you'll see me take it apart a lot when we're doing sleeves or when we're doing rope baskets. Which, if you haven't yet, please, please, please hit that subscribe button, because I am making rope bowls. And you heard me mention train tickets a couple of times. Y'all, we have a couple of train trips coming up. So if you're not yet a subscriber of Where Wendy Travels, Where Wendy Creates, this is the time. Hit that subscribe button, because we are going over bucket list adventure trips, Alaska, Europe, cross country. We have trips coming up. And do we have sewing projects coming up? Not only do I plan on doing another 6 of these bags in different colors, as gifts for different family members, but I have a couple of quilts in the process. So we are going to have start to finish full quilting tutorials coming up soon on Where Wendy Creates. So again, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss these upcoming quilt videos or my travel adventures. Okay, now we're going to take it off. We're going to fold it over about 1 inch, stitch all the way around it, and then we'll come back to put on the handles and turn it right side out. And let's quickly sew around the top 1/4 inch or scant 1/4 inch of the bag for a finished look. And our basic bag is looking pretty good. This is the inside that we're looking at. You can go around and trim extra threads. And I did want to mention, if you have a serger, this is the perfect opportunity to work a serger on that instead of the straight stitch that we used for the side of the bag. And I also wanted to say this is a very forgiving, wonderful beginner as well as advanced intermediate sewist project. And we've got the outside pockets, everything's inside out. Now we're going to take our handles and we're going to go ahead and measure in from the sides. So we have them equidistant on both sides. So this would be 4 inches in. And if I had this one 4 inches in, would that be too much? 4 inches in would be right here. And what do you think? Is that too close together? Let's go 3 inches in. I like 3 inches. So I'm very happy with 3 inch. And then over here, 3 inch. So we can go ahead and mark if we want with a marker where that is. Use a pen, use a clip, and let's sew. And we have stitched on our first side of the strap. We've gone around in a square and then made an X on top. And to do an X, you go across, you come back, you go across, and you come back. So you can do that a couple of times for strength. And now we're going to remeasure our 3 inches on this side and do our other strap. Okay, so let's see if we can get our strap connected on here. Let's get our machine turned on. And now we can go forward, we can go backwards, we can go however we want, but we want to make a square across the handle, and then we want to do an X across. Needle down, foot up, pivot. Now I'm going to go backwards. Make sure you're all lined up. Needle down, foot up, pivot, and we'll go across. And I broke my thread. And our bag is looking so much better. We have the handles on each. We're still looking at the inside of our bag, and we're going to go ahead and measure to get our 3 inches from the side, and then we're going to put on our next strap. Okay, and 3 inches from our seam on this side, we are hooking our last strap. Last side of our last strap, and we're going to make sure that they look good, and they do. So let's bring that under the sewing machine. And again, you might want to pin it or mark it to where when you're juggling it around to get it just right under the sewing machine, it doesn't move. And again, just manipulate that fabric, move it around, get it out of the way. Try not to run over your threads. Again, I want to be able to throw this thing full of heavy stuff and not worry about it coming apart. I'm going to go over it a couple of times. Making my X. Just come back across. Up, foot up, pivot, and we make an X. Okay, our last strap is on, so let's pull it out, trim our threads, and take a look. Okay, and now we have our completed tote bag. Now there are additional steps that I could do to make it extra quality. We have a beautiful bottom of the bag, but what I can do is take it from corner, measure over from the seam to the corner, measure over here from the seam to the side, and just do a quick stitch straight up here. That would give me a perfect pocket to keep my ruler, my art supplies, anything that I have there. And it would make it have a much more finished straight side. And then we can turn it over to the other side, do the same exact thing. And since we have the pocket on either side, which is a full pocket, we'll have that additional one if we stitch down here for just the quick, easy, narrow things that we want to carry. So I am very excited about this bag. We have the, I've got a couple of threads to trim. We've got the outside pocket here, which is perfect for my magazines. The outside pocket here, which is perfect for my paper map, because I love what do you call it, doodling all over my paper maps. And then we have these beautiful straps, big enough to go up over my shoulder, hold my bag under my arm. Love it, love it. And then look, yummy, yummy, yummy. Okay, I'll pull my threads out of here, but look, I've got one pocket here, I have one pocket here, I have a smaller pocket here that I can put my pens and pencils in, won't lose them. Look at this. I have a pocket here, I have a pocket here, and remember that pocket we talked about? Put those tickets or something that I'm going to need. I can put them right here. They hold on to them. I am utterly excited about this bag. And what I can do is I have a little bit of scrap fabric, and that scrap fabric left over from this project, I'm going to take a piece of cardboard. I can then stitch it down, stitch it down, stitch it down, perfect lining for the bottom of my bag to make it that much sturdier. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you have enjoyed this journey making this beautiful tote bag, and we're going to come back, make it a little bit different. And we're going to have some line bags, and I'm so excited about this. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. Have a great day, my friends. Thank you. Bye-bye.